Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I am your host, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is a vault dwelling, Blight questioning Josh Finney. Josh,
Blight questioning.
What the hell is going on?
Dude, I don't know. Okay, so I couldn't get on Reddit. I'm typically on Reddit Reset. I'm usually playing with our friends Colonel Panic and Nerd Generalist. We usually go through the story missions together, and just none of us were able to be online at Reset, so it's kind of the perfect storm. I start getting John is texting me, going, "Oh my god, dude! Like, what is that?" Like, it's talking about stuff from the lore that we're gonna get to in Lore Corner tonight. I'm like, "Wait, whoa! When did this happen?" He's like, "Oh shit! You should go straight to the tower when you log in. Just go to the tower." And then I get the picture of the tower sent to me about an hour and a half later by Nerd Generalist, who's like, "I haven't logged in yet, but holy shit, what is this?" I'm like, "Oh, god damn it." Okay, fine. So finally get in around like 9 o'clock on Tuesday night, and what's more bizarre than these taken blights being done, you can like jump on them and everything, so of course everybody's emoting on top of them, is that none of the NPCs seem to notice these.
Yeah, or care.
Yeah, they're still talking to Noed from Fenchurch today. Like, lady, there is, like, Satan is right in the middle of the tower, and
dude,
you are doing nothing about it.
That part where it, like, forks off to where you go to either Zavala or the gunsmith and Shaxx, there's, like, one sitting, like, right in the middle of the fork.
There's one literally 15 feet from Zavala.
I know.
He's gonna bump into it when he goes to take a piss. Like, how is nobody bringing this up, even in, like, a text blurb?
What is happening?
How? And never mind. There's none in the hangar. There's none by Drifter or by Ikora. They're only right there. It's so, Corey. It's so bad.
I know.
It's so,
like, there's not even any new dialogue.
Bad. Dude, I couldn't believe that. Like, just, a part of me wonders if they accidentally flipped the switch earlier and just like, fuck it, leave it. Mm-hmm. Like, part of me wonders if this was supposed to happen next week.
Yeah.
Or whenever it is that we...
Because, like, we were talking about the story last night, right? Because I finally got on Destiny for the first time in, like, 3 weeks last night. And I'm sitting there watching, I'm doing the mission, right? I'm trying to listen to the dialogue over my kid screaming. But then, like, when you finish the mission, you go back and you see Shaxx and Osiris talking, right? And it's like, because I went and did the mission first. I didn't go to the tower first. I was like, let's just get the story mission out of the way. I want to at least talk about it tomorrow. Like, I know what I'm talking about, instead of just being like, "Josh, what's happening in the story?" And, like, I'm sitting there listening, right? And there's no mention of it, right? None
whatsoever.
None. And I'm like, the only thing I noticed was some weird, like, Vex glitches around Osiris, which I'm sure we'll get to that later. Like, not that, but, you know, about Osiris later. And I'm just like, what's happening? Okay, I get it. You know, Lakshmi is clearly, like, trying to have some sort of divide and conquer type thing going on here. Then I went to the tower because I'm like, I might as well just do some gunsmith bounties before I go to bed. And then there's all these blights floating around. Then I'm like, Josh, what's happening? I don't like what I'm seeing.
No, it's not great, Bob. Not great. It's all bad news right now.
Wow.
I was not thrilled to see that. But I mean, anybody who's followed along the story and who knows who Quiria knows that she's a taken Vex mind, taken Vex Hydra, that is, which we've never fought one of those before. So that ought to be real interesting for us when that happens. But anybody who's followed the story knows that that's what's happening, and that's why the taken blights are here. She's been exposed as the one behind the long night, but I kind of expected this to show up like maybe the week that we take her down, and instead, nope. Here you go. It's right here. And then you have to wonder, like, what's the change to the tower? Like, is this going to stay when Solstice goes up in 2 weeks, or is this going to go away, or what?
Maybe the Solstice
It
stuff.
just feels...
I don't know.
it feels so fucking random right now. Like, if this was later in the season with like 3 or 4 weeks to go, I would understand.
Yeah.
I don't really get it right now. And maybe it's just because we don't see it yet. Maybe they did flip the switch early. I don't know. But Corey, we have a Schwab.
We do, but
it's not much.
This is much more interesting to talk about
than
Dreaming City weapons returning.
But I'm going to sit here and just like keep yelling about it. So I want to yell about 2 other destinations that have taken Blights on them instead.
Okay.
Well, one, I'm actually surprised that the second one doesn't have any, but give it time. I'm sure it'll happen.
Give it time. Unless it's being protected by Marosov and some awoken magic.
The Schwab, even like right off the bat in the first paragraph, makes it sound like we're probably taking care of this next week.
Yeah.
Because Endless Night really ramped up this week. The tower's now in full dark mode. Strange things are afoot as Guardians search for answers by diving even deeper into the Vex network. Hopefully the source is found soon, as it's looking pretty problematic right now. Yep. I agree with that.
Yep.
The big update this week, though, is that back in January, we announced 4 weapons from the Dreaming City and 4 from the Moon were being reissued with new perk pools, but had not brought them all back yet. In the next update scheduled for July 6th, we'll be reissuing the remaining Moon and Dreaming City weapons with new perks. Awesome. This is what we were asking for. These guns should never have been vaulted in the first place. You should change up perk pools periodically or something. But if you can still pay for those expansions, there's no reason why this should happen.
Right.
This also, to me, pretty much confirms that the Dreaming City is safe going into the fall and will not be vaulted. To make it clear, I don't think we're getting anything vaulted with Witch Queen.
You don't think Forsaken's getting that campaign?
I mean, they just reissued weapons from it. I don't think so. Why go through all that trouble if you're just going to vault something?
Yeah, but they reissued Escalation Protocol weapons through Prophecy Dungeon, and they took away bars.
Right, but I'm saying like these are being reissued only through the original source, which is the Dreaming City.
Okay, all right, you're right.
So like at least with EP, like we changed up where you got those from, and those are like part of the permanent edition now because they haven't sunset Prophecy.
Right.
That being said, like. I know Johnny's really excited about Loud Lullaby, the hand cannon coming back. I'm personally really stoked about the heavy grenade launcher, Love and Death. I really like that one. It was the first one they could roll with full court, spike nades and full court, and now it can roll with chain reaction, which is pretty fun on any kind of grenade launcher, I think. One Small Step, the Shoddy is back, and Tranquility is the sniper. Arc Logic is the assault rifle.
I think the assault rifle looks cool.
Yeah, I think they.
These all
they all.
Yeah,
I always liked the look of them, but they were almost immediately obsolete.
Yeah,
outside of the grenade launcher, and I will say I do like the pulse. I like the pulse rifle, and I didn't mind the sniper you can get from the Altars of Sorrow. You know, they already reissued those 3 weapons, which is nice. And then the Dreaming City, of course. Tiger Spite, Twilight Oath, and Abide the Return will be reissued. The biggest thing for me is you can go use the Lectern again, the Lectern of Enchantment, like because these guns actually mean something now. We have a reason to go spend all those souls or spirits or whatever the fuck they're called that we have to go get those bounties on the Moon now. So if there's a particular weapon you want, like for instance, like I really want a new roll on the Pulse. And on the grenade launcher, I can go roll those now if I want to. I can go get those quests and go do some stuff on the Moon. A little bit less pumped about the Dreaming City weapons, but I am really happy that Twilight Oath, the sniper, is back.
Yeah. And
it can now roll with Vorpal, which is pretty big for a sniper.
Yeah. That sword looks cool, but I don't know. I mean, there's so many good swords out there.
So many swords look cool, and just so few of them are good.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well stick with, like... I mean... Fallen Guillotine is still like the best sword outside of Lament.
Guillotine is great for any class. Crown Splitter is the current DPS king.
Yeah,
for swords. But that's it's Titan exclusive. You can't play it on any other class.
Well, good thing I'm a Titan, Josh.
First time he's ever said that. But
never
no,
said it about any
I like
armor.
this. I think that if you're going to keep things in the game, you should reissue the weapons with different perks. Like, we've seen a lot of weapons come back into the world loot pool. Of course, all the future war cult weapons are back. We have Hung Jury hanging out in the Vanguard Strikes playlist, or in the Nightfalls, excuse me. We've got a lot of Destiny 1 weapons back in there as well. I'd like to see them next season do like a Dead Orbit Ingram, where like, here's 5 weapons from Dead Orbit or something from both across Destiny 1 and 2.
Right.
I feel like that's the next logical step, is to give us that and to give us New Monarchy, and then at some point, like maybe the remaining Gambit Prime weapons.
Yeah.
Like, I do feel like everything is going to get reworked back into the loot pool and just stay there permanently now that we have the Umbral Ingram machine.
Right.
With the exception of the guns that were problematic to begin with, Mountaintop, Recluse, Avowed, and Beloved.
Yeah.
Like, outside of those 4, I'm pretty, and of course,
I'm really glad when Savathun comes to destroy the city that the Umbral Ingram machine is in our spaceship.
Right? I don't want to have to build another one of these. We've done it for too many seasons. I do really like how they do this though. Like, I want to talk about that for just a second while we're on the issue of weapons being reissued. I had initially worried when we went into Seasons of the Splicer, like, oh shit, like, you're just gonna have to buy 1 Ingram and hope that you get like one of the 5 seasonal weapons from last season. Like, I had friends who really didn't play last season, but they want some of the weapons from it. And I was thinking to myself, like, if I take a season off in the future, or like just don't play as much, I'm gonna have a real hard time. Like, I don't want to sit there and have to roll all these Ingrams and this and that. And thank God, as if you unlocked the lenses, whether you did or didn't, you can still unlock them and you can still use them. You just have to go play some battlegrounds in order to get some hammer charges.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that all the upgrades you purchased are still valid. So for me, that screams that those are going to be available for like the rest of this expansion year until Witch Queen comes out, and then the whole machine will probably take a big reset.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I'm because that's how I interpret that the activities will be available is until Witch Queen, and then they'll wipe them. I think they need to stay in for 12 calendar months, like just all the way through. They need to stay in for 4 complete seasons. So like, Seasons of the Hunt stuff needs to go away when Witch Queen launches. There should always be 4 seasonal activities available at any given time.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, it seems kind of weird that like this last season coming up, last season coming up is going to be gone after the season ends, right? Because we've had all these other seasonal activities to do. Right,
and I mean, maybe I'm just completely misinterpreting this. Like, Bungie hasn't been really clear on this, but I'm going based off of the triumphs for the season, saying they will not be available past season 15.
Yeah, well, I mean, that I feel like that is clear enough, right? Like, I feel like
I feel like it is too.
I mean,
it's a problem. I think it's a problem, and I think something Bungie needs to get really clear on. They've got about 7 months, right? 7 or 8 months now until Witch Queen launches. Like, we're still so far away.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know.
Witch Queen launching,
which sucks because I'm so ready for, just based off the story stuff that we're seeing and the lore stuff. I'm so eager to get back to.
We've likened it so many times to, it's like a TV show. It's like tuning in every week to see the next episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier or Loki or Bad Batch or whatever. Like, you just want to see what happens next in these stories.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not Bad Batch, but like, you get what I'm saying. Like, it's like watching serialized television again. Like, you have to see what happens.
There's at least 3 people out there that like Bad Batch.
Listen, I like Bad Batch. I'm one of the 3, but I realize the sentiment is not shared by that many people. Okay, it's something that diehards like. Okay,
you're also like a Star Wars super fan, so I mean,
I really am, to a disgusting degree. I actually have a Bad Batch shirt that I got last year. When you take a look at how they're doing the seasons, though, and like, they're getting you to tune in every week, and I like that we get it mostly out of the way in those first 8 weeks. Okay, they might have something after that, but like last season, the whole narrative was out of the way once you did the Proving Grounds. The assassination attempt on Zavala came through, and then we didn't have any story beats for the last 5-6 weeks of the season. Which is how I think it needs to be. Like, if you kept up with it every single week, congratulations, you have done like the 8 weeks of content that we planned for you to do. We have a seasonal event now to close it out, because I think that's how they're going to try and shift those, is to have like the Dawning, Solstice of Heroes, maybe the Halloween event eventually, like all towards the end of the seasons. So that like, okay, so we got to do the story stuff. Now let's do the stupid things that don't really matter. Let's go bake some cookies. Let's go to EAZ for a third year in a row. You know?
Yeah.
Let's get some dinosaur armor going in the tower.
I forgot about more dinosaur armor. Give me that dinosaur armor.
I look at that picture regularly because I'm so excited to be a raptor.
Oh, I can't wait.
But just like I kind of like that approach because that's a way that's going to keep people like me engaged. Like I'll play the first days of an event. If I don't like the event, cool. I'm going to bow out. I'll log in to get my extra bright dust once a week. Like right now, the game is doing a really good job at even when I'm not playing story content. I'm probably still logging in once a week for Eververse. Well, if there's anything in Eververse that I want that week, like this season, there's almost nothing I've wanted.
Yeah.
For Dust, thank God. And then,
I mean, if they would just make something halfway cool looking for Titan armor, I'd be ponying up some money. But
right, I don't know. I think it's a really tricky thing for a live game to balance, and I think Destiny is they're still trying to toe this line between being an MMO and being an FPS that you just play with friends, and with the storytelling and with the approach to seasonal storytelling that they've taken and expansions and things like that, it really is diving into that MMO territory. Like they want you to still play other games, but this is pretty clear. Like they want this to be your main game. Like you can't play this, like a lot of Destiny and a lot of Final Fantasy 14 at the same time. You can't play a lot of this and like a lot of Phantasy Star Online 2. Like you just don't have room in your life for two massive progression-based games like that. Like you can play a more casual game.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Joe and I have talked about it. Like we're going to be bouncing back between Destiny and Halo because those are the two we love so much. Like I don't know what I'm going to do.
I know. I'm like, man, Halo is going to take up so much of my time when it comes out. It looks so good.
And that's why I'm so happy in a selfish way that Witch Queen is delayed.
Yeah, and that like next season is like 6 months long. So like,
right. So I'm going to get everything out of the way pretty quickly, probably.
Yeah, especially if they're trying to hit that holiday release, right? Like I feel like Halo will be the game that I take a break from Destiny for a while, and then when Witch Queen comes, probably February, March-ish.
I've got it pegged for right around Valentine's Day. Now that we've confirmed Starfield isn't coming until next fall, I think middle of February would be a really good launch window for them.
Yeah.
But I also think it all depends on when Horizon decides to release.
You think Horizon's going to take that big of a dent out of Destiny?
Yes. I think Horizon is, so PlayStation exclusives, like premier exclusives from them, will take a bite out of anything. They will dominate the conversation. So like that's why we speculated that Halo doesn't have a release date yet, is they're waiting. And Phil Spencer pretty much confirmed this week, like, yeah, we've got it down to a window of like 2 to 3 weeks. And like at this point, there's no way you're not dumping it on the 20th anniversary week.
Right.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
But they still want to wait and see what Nintendo and Sony were going to do.
Right, because they thought Breath of the Wild was coming out this year, right?
Everybody thought that game was coming this year. Yeah. I should say almost everybody thought it was coming this year.
Yeah. I mean, I
thought you had two possible windows for it. I thought it was either, if it didn't come out in September with the rumored Switch Pro, it wasn't coming until at least mid-March.
Yeah, I said March, but
I'm still staking that I think that the Switch Pro is, I mean, this is not Destiny, but we'll circle back to Destiny with this conversation. The Switch Pro is probably coming mid-March now, if it is real, because they're going to want to launch it with a premium exclusive. Like, yeah, I'm sorry,
plus they're going to want to use this.
I love Metroid, but unless it's Metroid Prime 4, you're not moving units with a Metroid game or with Mario Party. Or Advance Wars, as much as I love those games.
I think that they want to use this holiday to get rid of excess stocks.
Yep.
Because I mean, the rumor is they're going to phase out this model and the Switch Pro.
Oh, they're going to 100% get rid of this model.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It'll be the Switch Lite and the Pro.
Yeah.
Or the XL Super Switch, whatever they want to call it.
No, they're going to put that new logo in front of it, like the new 3DS.
I would love for them to call it the Super Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I bet they just. Yeah.
I see almost no way, now that we know when Pokemon Legends is coming out. Pokemon Company kind of does their own thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't really confine to what Nintendo wants them to do. They're just like, nope, this is when we're dumping it. This is when we're releasing.
Right. I mean, there's Pokemon games coming out in November, though. That's going to push units, probably. Just because I think this generation, like, in particular, from just anecdotally, people love this generation.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
I don't either, but I'm also not a Pokemon guy. I liked Red and Blue, and I played a lot of Silver, and sure.
That's why Let's Go was perfect for me.
Yeah, dude, Let's Go Pikachu.
There's no way you don't launch it, but the bottom line is there's no way you don't launch that console without Splatoon 3 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, in a way, like, Bungie probably doesn't think that's going to take too much out of their base, but they want to get enough of a distance away from Halo and Call of Duty and Battlefield, because all three of those are launching within a month of each other.
Yeah.
Like, within a 4-week window. It's the same thing that we had back in 2015 when, or not 2015, 2017, 2018, whenever Titanfall 2 came out, 2017. When it got just fucking steamrolled.
Yeah, because it came out, it was Battlefield, Titanfall, Call of Duty, right? So if you weren't playing Battlefield...
Titanfall, Call of Duty, Battlefront 2, all in a 3.5-week window. That's just terrible. That's absolutely terrible. EA sent that game to die, and they know it.
Yeah. Well, I think their idea was, let's send out all of our games to try to stop Call of Duty, and then none of them sold well because of they all cannibalize each other.
And then my other thing is, I think that Bungie, there's no way Bungie's making these decisions without talking with Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
They have that big bag of Game Pass money right now.
Right. Did that ever make it to PC Game Pass yet?
No. So I know we don't really address PC on this, but I do want to address the PC Game Pass thing, since I was kind of hoping it would come up at E3 and it didn't.
Yeah.
I do think that the earliest you may hear about this will be on Bungie Day. I think that Bungie Day you're going to hear more than you normally would from them. I think you'll hear about crossplay there, because they're not going to wait and announce crossplay is available today. You can't do that. Your servers will melt down. This is Bungie we're talking about. We can't trust them to launch a season without it breaking.
Right.
So I do think that on Bungie Day, we're probably going to get word of when the next crossplay tests are going to be. They're going to have to crossplay test the tower at some point, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Tower, raids, dungeons, like they're going to have to test everything. I suspect we get that announced on Bungie Day. And then...
Which is what, July 7th, right?
July 7th, yeah. Solstice of Heroes launches day before, with the weapons update we just talked about. And Cosmos says that next week we're going to hear more about what's going to be in that update. It's not just going to be weapons. So I'm curious to know what that entails. To me, it's got to be some cross-play things.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, I really think that's when they're going to tell you the PC stuff. I think they're going to be like, hey, we feel stable enough. Everything's here. Like, we know Microsoft's been changing the way their store works. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to feel comfortable coming out and saying it's coming to Game Pass PC.
Plus, like, Windows 11 is going to change a bunch of stuff, right? Because Xbox is pretty much going to be integrated directly into...
It is. It is straight up baked into the UI of Windows 11 now. Like, I have to imagine that's probably what Bungie was waiting on. Like, Microsoft probably shared with them, like, hey, we wanted to make the announcement, but... Because I think Windows 11 was supposed to be out before now.
Yeah.
But obviously, pandemic, add a year on to when things were supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it will have been a year.
Free upgrade for Windows 10 users. That it was coming to PC.
Do what?
Free upgrade for Windows 10 users.
Free upgrade for Windows 10 users. Xbox is baked into it. It is night and day. Cloud streaming is way better than it was. Like, the Series X updates have begun to roll out with the server blades. Like, you can already play Siege at 120 frames via cloud browser. And it just, like, things are running so good right now. Like, I think that now they're like, okay, we know a lot of people are going to play this on Game Pass and on cloud. We want to make sure all our ducks are in a row before we throw PC into that mix.
Right.
And because when they do that, they're going to be able to say, you can play on Xbox with your friends on PC, with your friends on PlayStation, all at the same time. And for those, like, 100 people still on Stadia.
Yeah. God, Stadia. Did you see it in the TWAB that there's, like, this big bug fix thing for Stadia users?
I did.
I'm like, there's still people playing this on Stadia.
There are, in fact, still people playing.
I'm sorry. I just want to know this. I just want to know everything about Stadia, like in its current state. How many people are using it? Are people still buying games? Is Google's like still supporting it?
I want to know what happened to all the game agreements that they had. Like, the thing I need to know the most about is how much money did they give Larian to make Baldur's Gate 3 a Stadia and PC exclusive?
Dude, that's got to be like a...
Because that was one of my wildcard predictions for E3, was that Microsoft was going to announce a partnership with Larian to bring that to Game Pass Early Access.
Yeah.
That would, and I'm sorry. That is the D&D game that we deserve, not this Dark Alliance bullshit.
Yeah, I heard some bad things about Dark Alliance. It got a 4
from IGN, Corey.
I was kind of looking forward to it, to be honest with you.
People who have personally played it, it is unplayable.
I was really kind of looking forward to it, to be honest with you.
I was too, and that's why I'm upset.
I'm like, I really liked Dark Alliance on GameCube.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was Baldur's Gate, baby.
I know, but...
Yeah. I'm ready. Oh. But that's... So, long anecdotes aside, it's going to do it for the TWAB this week. We have something else we're going to talk about, though. So we referenced Bungie Day, and Bungie Day is kind of at the core of what we're going to talk about tonight, which is data mining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The last... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that is video I sent you in our DMs. It didn't even cross my mind that could have been data mined.
I don't think that. I think the particular thing you sent me is a fan mock-up, just because it's from like first-person perspective.
Yeah.
Data mine things don't typically show what we, the player, would see,
right?
Unless it's a pre-rendered cutscene. It won't show something that's actually happening in game, I don't believe, unless somebody managed to like glitch into the encounter or something. That's the only way I can think of it happening. But it's so slowed down and like pixelated that it makes me think it's fake. I hope it is, at least. If not, that's pretty shitty to leak.
Yeah.
But what Corey and I are talking about is there's been a lot of discussion around data mining, especially the last week and a half or so. There's been some growing resentment in the community. It really started with, in a lot of ways, with Season of the Chosen. We'd seen some flare-ups before, but there is a specific group of people in the community, and I don't want to label anybody, but there are people who are okay with getting the season spoiled for them up front. And so they ask data miners, like, oh, tell us what's going on. Data miners, like, will release cutscenes early. They'll tell us what weapons are coming into the game, what activities are coming back. Like, Mythoclast was data mined, even though Helen Keller could have told you that gun was coming back. I'm pretty sure, like, literally anybody who, like, you don't even have to play Destiny. Like, as long as you know the words Vex Mythoclast and Vault of Glass, you can put 2 and 2 together, it's probably coming back.
Yeah.
It was the most fabled gun up until Gallarhorn. You know, the initial broken Vex Mythoclast is the stuff of legends, just like Year 1 Gallarhorn.
Yeah.
And I want to be really clear. Like, I don't want to paint all data miners with a broad brush. When I use that term, I'm not... There are good ones and there's bad ones. Let's put it that way. The good ones are ones that we see, like Ishtar Collective, for example. All the lore is automatically data mined. It's automatically updated on the website first day of the season. Cool. What people use that for is a problem, though. Running around talking about spoilers rampantly and being so cavalier about it and saying, well, it's on Ishtar Collective, so why can't we talk about it? You can't talk about it because it's not in game yet. Like, we have the BIFE policy of we will not talk about lore before it's in the game, before it's accessible for you to earn. If you want to go and read ahead, feel free to go to Ishtar Collective. Let me know what you think about it, because I probably read it at that point. But it's the data mining of cutscenes. What really sparked it this week was some data miners figured out that there is going to be an emblem given away on Bungie Day that looks like the old spoilers here, because it's already been publicly talked about by the community managers at this point. It looks like the free ramen coupon that we used to pick up from Keith's Ramen Stand. Mm-hmm. It's a callback to a joke last year when they said they were taking it out of the inventories, and everybody was upset, and they're like, well, maybe we'll find a way to memorialize it.
Yeah.
And they did. I think it's a cool-looking emblem. Everyone's going to be wearing it for the first week or two. It's cool. I like it. I love when things like that are memes become an in-game thing, like the burnt toast emblem if you buy the Jotun toaster.
Yeah. Things
like that are funny. And the people who data mine this, though, were selling codes for it. And people were paying hundreds of dollars for these.
Just to have it 2 weeks early?
Though at the time, we didn't know what it was coming from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
And what called it to the attention of Damage on Twitter was a content creator had it equipped, posted a picture of it, and Damage replied to this and goes, "How the hell did you get this? Like, we're not giving this. This is supposed to be a Bungie Day giveaway. How did you get this?" And he was like, I was given it by somebody, and like didn't name names. I assume it went to DMs after that, right? Because this is a breach of terms of service.
Right.
Accessing something like that early is a breach of terms of service. As in its nature, data mining is technically.
Yeah.
Without data mining, you don't have things like Light GG. You don't have Ishtar Collective. You don't have Today in Destiny. Like, these are resources that so who play the game, who make content, and who even just do this for fun. We use these. When I do Lore Corner, I read off Ishtar Collective every week. Mm-hmm. It's easier than me turning on my Xbox. I don't have it on my desk anymore anyways. I go there all the time. I go there when I'm trying to explain things that happened, seasons ago to friends who are getting back in. I use Light GG all the time to look at potential rolls on new weapons. I use DIM all the time when I'm playing to transfer my gear.
Mm-hmm. I use, what do I use? I have, hold on. I use the Ishtar app.
Yeah, the Ishtar Commander, I think.
Yeah, that.
I used it a lot. I use that one a lot in Destiny 1. I just almost always have my laptop open now, so I'm usually just jumping on DIM. I've never minded running to the tower, frankly. Like, I keep like the same 3 loadouts on me usually for the season, just based on what mods I need and things like that. But there are people who legitimately are, up in arms about this because that got spoiled for us. Like, I have so many people who have been spoiled by story spoilers. I myself got spoiled by something that was not flagged in a thread, completely unrelated. It was on the launch day of the season. I got something spoiled for me that's going to happen like in the final days of the season. Because it was data mined, because one of the data miners decided he was going to put into a paste bin every single line of dialogue from the season. And so people, of course, combed through it and started posting it in all these threads, not even keeping it just a raid secret, which is where you're usually asked to keep it to. And still, even if you post it there, mark it as spoilers.
Right.
They were posting it in Destiny the Game. They were posting it on Twitter. Like, I had to stop. Corey sent me something earlier, and he was like, I don't know, when I was like, oh, this is data mine. And he says, oh, well, I don't know. And to be clear, it looks like a GIF of the Queria fight is what it seems to be. And I feel okay saying that because we know in the lore that confrontation is coming. If you look at the triumphs for the season, that confrontation is coming. So we can talk about that now. That is one of the things I got spoiled for me at the beginning of the season, was that we would fight, that we were likely going to fight her at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, just because people were saying her name a lot in threads, and of course, I see that. I bailed out, 100% bailed out.
Yeah.
But it was mentioned enough times that I was like, okay, you can surmise you're probably going to have to do something with her. I did not expect it to be that she was behind the Endless Night, though. That was still a surprise to me a couple weeks ago. But some stuff with some of our main characters. I have had things ruined for me, and then it's like, I gotta remember what I know versus what other people know versus what you, the listener, or you, Corey, what John, what Nerd, what Joe, what everybody that we play with knows, so I don't accidentally slip up and spoil something.
Right.
And then it becomes a spiraling effect at that point, because so many of us who play this game love these stories and we love being surprised. It sucks when you get spoiled by that. I don't usually, if you want to tell me what's going to be for sale in Eververse, cool. There's a reason why I go to Today in Destiny the second that a new season is up. Because I wait for the data mined list of what's going to be available for Dust and how much it's going to cost me for the entire season. So I know what to spend my silver on. It's been an invaluable tool for me for the last year and a half. It's saved me money. It has helped me maximize what I do. That's good data mining. Telling me what legendary lost sectors are coming for the season and what the rewards are going to be on the cycles. That's an example of a good data mine. Posting all of the dialogue, posting cutscenes before they're available to everybody, that's a problem. Yeah. It's becoming a really big problem. And then I think that brings
the data mining stuff is I feel bad because I sent you that because I assumed it was something that I missed in the mission or something. Maybe it was a black spindle type thing where you exited the mission a different way and like it took you to the secret boss room or something, right? Like that's what I thought it was, and I thought maybe you would know about it. And I kind of was expecting you to tell me what it was, and then I saw your response. I'm like, oh no, did I just ruin something? Did I, And
no, and that's why I went and did my. I'm in a drive-through getting food like 2 hours ago, and I'm like, oh shit, did something just get ruined? I'll go, God, like it's not Corey's fault, but like, did something get ruined? And that's I try to be really careful with what I share now because I don't know if somebody has seen it. So like for instance, like the Taken Tower stuff. I mentioned at the top of the show, like, oh, that got spoiled for me. Is that really a spoiler though? Is the next question. And I would say honestly, no. It's just a surprise. Now, if there was dialogue associated with it, I would have been more upset.
Yeah.
If there was actual tangible story stuff to push that forward this week, I would have been like, that fucking sucks. Like, why would you bring that up? Like, but just sending me a picture of the tower, like, okay, fine. But then I see a boss fight. There's like 5 hydras in there. There's this big ass hydra in the middle. Like, oh my God, did this just get ruined for me? And then, I think like, oh, none of them are taken. It's okay. It's okay. None of them are taken. It's cool. I can calm down. I can come down and reduce my endorphins a little bit. But, it's that. I mean, this has been a problem for as long as I can remember. I mean, all the way back in Forsaken. The scene where Uldren comes back to life was data mined like 7 or 8 weeks before it was actually in the game.
Right.
It was being posted everywhere as like the worst kept secret in Destiny.
Yeah.
You had that. I think we had an Osiris cutscene during Worthy leak out. And I want to be clear, this isn't all just on data miners. Like, if you have data in the game unprotected, people are, this is an MMO, they're going to data mine it.
Yeah, they're going to find it.
World of Warcraft has been plagued by this forever.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy XIV has prevented it because they have it in their terms of service that if you data mine, they will ban you for life.
Right.
And that still doesn't deter, like, it still happens, but it's significantly lower. Like, they're still going to go make their YouTube videos and things like that, significantly lower than in the Destiny community or in the World of Warcraft community, and it's just... Bungie, I think, is at a crossroads here, because the people who are saying take away all the data mining do not understand that we get good data mines out of this.
Yeah.
We get Light GG, we get Dim, we get Ishtar Collective, we get Today in Destiny. If you say take away all data mining, you're taking those things away, which are invaluable tools for anybody playing this game, especially for the more hardcore you get, the more of these sites you're probably visiting on a regular basis or have bookmarked or something. You reference them all the time. Like I said, it's not a game that should be necessarily built around the content creator's convenience, but it is something that we have to remember and keep in mind is there are just everyday people who use things like Dim. I've seen so many people say this week, if all data mining is taken away and Dim gets shut down because of this, like the API isn't shared anymore, like I don't know if I'll keep playing this game. Like it's that valuable to me.
Yeah. I think
that's a bit of an overreaction. I get the sentiment.
I think Bungie, even though, it's against terms of service or whatever, I feel like they know the value of something like Ishtar Collective or Dim, and something that's, hurting players like the data mining, like the real crappy data miners, right? Like I feel like they know, right? Or I feel like Ishtar Collective would have been shut down like years ago.
Right.
So,
and I mean, I think what this is ultimately going to lead to is you're probably going to see a crackdown from Bungie leading up to the Witch Queen. I don't know if you'll get one before then because it's internet security. It's going to take a little while to implement. It'll likely launch with the title update for Witch Queen.
Yeah.
But I expect them to crack down on data mining. Like certain things will still be allowed to be in the API. Yeah. I don't expect them to remove weapons or anything, but I think they're going to have to start encrypting emblems that you can earn. I expect the Eververse calendar on Today in Destiny is probably going to be toast after this.
Yeah.
Things like that I think are going to be, just wiped out. New exotics probably will not be viewable before the season actually launches.
Right.
Which
would suck because I like seeing the exotics, especially the ones that here's a couple that you're going to earn, but here's the one that's included in the season pass, and then we kind of speculate if that's going to be worth it or not. Right.
Yeah.
It's fun. This stuff's fun, and people are ruining
that. And it's a handful of people that are really going to ruin it for the majority of us.
Yeah.
And I think that's the line that Bungie's trying to toe right now. Like they're pretty upset, and if they're this upset about, it's not just the emblem, and they've made it really clear. It's not just about the emblem. It's about like this is a recurring theme, and it has gotten very bad during Chosen. It was bad. It has gotten unbearably bad during Splicer.
Right.
And
I
just
it was
where
getting
do you go?
It was getting bad during last season, right? But then like I feel like it's like at a whole new level, especially at the end of last season and continuing into this season. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, it's getting terrible. It's bad. It's so bad.
It's bad. So, any last thoughts on this?
It just sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah.
I hope Bungie does take the right actions against these data miners, right? I hope they do realize the value in something like Ishtar, right? Like I really do hope they.
And I think they do
value.
because I mean, like they've Dim is an official partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dim, I know that they've referenced Ishtar Collective and stuff because I don't mind things being on Ishtar Collective at the beginning of the season because you have to deliberately seek that out. You're not going to accidentally spoil yourself going on Ishtar Collective.
Right.
If you get spoiled on Ishtar Collective, it's because you went down a rabbit hole and started clicking on things you shouldn't have been clicking on.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for you. Nobody should fear getting on Reddit or on Twitter and just seeing random spoilers because this community is really bad about not tagging them with Destiny spoilers or keeping it the raid secrets or anything. Like Destiny lore is unvisitable at the beginning of a season now.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to that subreddit a lot if I was having, if I didn't really understand the story that was going on and I couldn't find a Bife video to watch. That was a really good place for like new lore discussion. Can't go there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's bad, and that's a shame. Like, so it's the blame is kind of shared across the board, right? And that's why I know if we see people we've mentioned, Bife, does his best. He says he'll never talk about data mine stuff on his streams.
Mm-hmm.
On his videos, he'll never ever talk about that. We hold that as much as humanly possible as well.
Mm-hmm.
In cases like this, okay, we're actively talking about an emblem that was already leaked.
Yeah.
Truth is, I saw this emblem the first day of the season.
Yeah.
But I never knew how it came about.
Yeah.
Same with the toast one. When I saw the bread one, I was like, oh, I'm doing that. Dude, you just know that's for the toaster.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go get that.
Right.
And I think the solution is going to be Destiny's going to start, or Bungie, not Destiny, Bungie is going to start encrypting a lot more things into the back end. And that may mean you see a lot more like little mini title updates week to week.
They have people back in the office now, right? Like maybe not their whole team, but some of them, right?
I'm not entirely sure about that, honestly. I would imagine that if they don't, they probably will by Labor Day.
Yeah.
I imagine for those 6 months leading up to Witch Queen, they're going to want people back in office as often as possible.
Yeah. Plus the West Coast got hit a lot worse, I feel like, than most places.
Seattle especially was very bad.
Yeah.
And you try to be understanding, but like for instance, Final Fantasy 14 doesn't put their cutscenes in the game until they launch a title update. Until like the update for that week comes out, boom, it's in the game now. So it cannot get ruined weeks ahead of time. I think Bungie's going to have to start taking a stance of doing that. As much as I know they don't want to constantly have updates for this game, I feel like you're going to have to start shifting to that mode.
Yeah.
Or, making things undiscoverable in collections and in the API and things like that. And like, again, like that kind of sucks, but like what value is it doing for us to have every single line of dialogue available at the beginning of the season?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I feel for the people who want to go read it all on Ishtar right away, but wait week to week like the rest of us.
Yeah.
I will say though, it is an invaluable resource, and I really don't want to see them lose their connection to the community because of a few bad apples. Being able to go back and reference lines of dialogue that like Saint or Crow has said to me has been awesome for structuring like how to bring people up to speed, or you should go read this week, and this week to understand like some of the background of what happened during Hunt or during Chosen. Like these are conversations like through the holo projector that were worth reading if you don't get those again now. I have no way of knowing if those play out in the current season.
Yeah.
So last second thoughts on data mining before we shift gears.
Nope, just that it sucks. So stop doing it. Stop ruining it for
Stop
the
doing the bad stuff. Stop doing the bad data mining. Keep doing the good shit. I want to keep saving Bright Dust and saving Silver.
Good shit, good. Bad shit, bad.
We're on the climb to 100K. We will be at 90K by the end of the season. I'm sitting at 84 right now.
Of course you are.
I am. I'm going to get to 100K and then go on a spending spree during the Witch Queen. I might even stream it.
Oh, God.
Lore Corner, Corey.
Lore Corner.
Bit of a short one tonight. It's not a super long one. It's a short episode. Kind of in the middle lull of the season. Don't have a whole lot to talk about. Hopefully next week is not just a meteor schwa, but some more story stuff to talk about. This was kind of just, I don't know, I feel like a holding pattern for the quest, the seasonal quest.
Yeah. Plus, like...
Which is fine. We had that with Keitel a few times, right?
Yeah. Plus, like, I feel like... I don't know if I'm just reading too much into this or not, but, like, I feel like the last couple weeks, like, with E3 and everything else going on, I feel like maybe this was a point where they're like, hey, there's a nice break here. You know, people are probably going to pay attention to other stuff for a while. You know, maybe we don't want anything big going on during these couple weeks.
I mean, they did drop the Queria thing on us last week during E3.
That's true.
So
that's true. Never mind. Scratch my theory because it was bad. Anyways, sorry, Josh. Continue.
All right. So I only have one piece for us tonight. I will likely have more next week. I do want to go into the story of what Ada's been doing during all this at some point before the end of the season. Maybe just kind of like as wrapping up, there's going to be some Solstice lore, I'm sure. And if it's anything like the Guardian game stuff, I really want to read that. But again, trying to intentionally stay away from a lot of this before it's actually in the game. This one's called Gilded Knives. It's, of course, from Beneath the Endless Night. They say the promenade of the core district never sleeps. In times of celebration, it was a parade ground meant to extol the virtues of the Guardians and show the people of the city the faces of their often distant defenders. To see it empty was almost unheard of since the Red War. Executor Hideo of New Monarchy walked alongside Lakshmi II of the Future War Cult, observing vendor stalls decorated in neon lights that flickered intermittently as they passed. But there were no vendors, no proprietors. Hideo glanced over his shoulder at the 4 Future War Cult security officers that followed behind them at a respectful distance. Do you remember the last time this street was empty? He asked. Yes, Lakshmi said with a heavy heart. They called me a fool then as well. She did nothing to hide the contempt in her voice. We make mistakes in circles, Hideo, walking in a loop of our own self-made despair. Before he could formulate a response, Hideo spotted the reason for their walk through the endless night. A towering behemoth of chrome and lavender cloth hunched over an abandoned plaza. St. 14 focused on the birds underfoot, scattering a handmade mix of seed on the ground while he cooed contently at the pigeons. You have chosen poor night for walk, he observed, as Hideo and Lakshmi approached. Do you need escort back to tower? Hideo shook his head. No, Saint. We went to find you in the hangar. Miss Holliday informed us that you had come here to... He eyed the birds. Contemplate. Birds are uncomplicated, good conversationalists. They give me room to think, Saint said with a smile on his voice. How can I help? The consensus has struggled as of late with some of the Vanguard's decisions regarding the city's security. We wanted to expand that conversation to include you, Lakshmi said. But not Arak Jal? Saint asked, a more pointed and cunning response than either Hideo or Lakshmi had anticipated. No, Hideo quickly confirmed. Lakshmi verbally maneuvered around Hideo's answer like water around a stone. This is about ensuring that the best interests of the city are at the forefront of the Vanguard's mind. Saint fixed his helmed visage on Lakshmi. The Elixni. A statement, not a question. The Vanguard are a military force, and the consensus does not doubt their commitment to defending the city beyond its borders. Lakshmi carefully worded her approach. But we have come to doubt that a military force is the best governance for the city inside of its walls. Saint squared his shoulders as it presented a challenge and looked between Hideo and Lakshmi. His stoicism twisted Hideo's stomach into knots. We would like to propose a restructuring of the city's leadership, placing the Vanguard as the authority for what goes on outside the walls. Hideo gestured towards the mountains, and respective leadership here in the city, as he motioned to Saint. This is a bad plan, Saint said without any attempt at obfuscating his feelings. Hideo pleaded. On top of that, the Vanguard is stretched too thin. They cannot be the leadership they need to be. Saint balked. Then why come to me? I am no politician. But you are a leader, Lakshmi countered as she placed a hand over her chest. A hero, a symbol to the people. Saint drew in a steady breath and grew silent. It may not feel like the right choice because of your feelings towards Commander Zavala and Ikora. Change can sometimes feel distasteful, but I know you aren't one to ignore your sense of duty. Saint looked down at his feet, and at the birds, and at the seed. I must speak with Osiris, he asserted. Lakshmi briefly regarded Hideo and nodded. Give your partner our regards. I will, Saint said swiftly, scattering the last of the seed in his hand to the birds before departing the plaza. Hideo and Lakshmi waited under the watchful eye of the traveler until Saint was gone. If he tells Zavala or Ikora, Hideo said through clenched teeth, Osiris will stop him from doing anything so stupid, Lakshmi said, the softness in her voice gone. And if he is so short-sighted as to refuse us a salad and dead. Hideo's stomach twisted again. So, her coup, Lakshmi's coup is in full swing right now. We can surmise from this battle lines are being drawn. Dead Orbit is staying out of it completely. We knew they were going to try to play both sides. They kind of hinted at that a few weeks ago. It seems like we pretty definitively know they are not involved at this point. That they are just leaving the city altogether, as is their mission altogether. But I still think that they're part of the evacuation effort eventually, and therefore they are not involved in this. Saint changed a couple of weeks ago during the Mithrax encounter. And if you haven't done that quest, if you haven't seen that particular cutscene, I implore you to watch it as soon as humanly possible on YouTube, in-game, whatever. It is phenomenal storytelling. It's incredible.
Yeah, it was really good. You're talking about the one where they did the artistic one where like the skull shines through the helm, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How they see Saint it's a major thing. You know, how on earth does everybody else see the hero of Earth? And he's seen as a demon, as a monster almost. And that leaves us with a very interesting position, I believe. I'm trying to see if I can find the conversation between him and Osiris, but I don't think it's been transcribed since it's spoken. But it's a very good exchange this week. He basically tells them he tells Osiris what Lakshmi is planning, and Osiris is basically like, yeah, I know. And Saint, it's just, he's appalled. This is his best friend, and we know from, our lore readings a couple of weeks ago, Osiris is in on this plan. He has tried to keep Saladin and Zavala separate. I mean, of course, we have our own theories here, if that is really Osiris, or is it, as last week's readings indicated, is it Savathun? Which seems like the much more likely solution right now is that it's Savathun or, I think it's Savathun. It could be Xivu Arath, but I don't think it is. Taking on the appearance of Osiris.
Yeah, I had a theory because when I saw the Vex kind of glitches around, I'm like, maybe is he part of the simulation and they don't know? But you kind of debunked that theory, and then when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, the fact that he seems to be being controlled, it seems like, or like a shapeshift almost, or something like it's
right. Well, because if we remember last week's, it says the form of Osiris, whoever it is, can't hold it much longer. It's literally splitting at the seams. So you have to wonder, is that actually Osiris's body, or is it somebody just taking on the form of Osiris? Which the god of trickery would certainly be able to do. And then it's just a question of how long does it take for not Osiris's plan to go into effect?
And
you have to
what
figure
happened
that
to the
you have to
real
figure out that the
Osiris?
city is probably going to learn Crow's identity before the end of the season.
Yeah, and what happened to the real Osiris? Right, like that's
Right.
also
Right. Is he dead? Is he locked in a trunk a la Mad Eye Moody? Where's he at?
I still like our Mad Eye Moody theory, just
I
because
do
it's
too. I'm
hilarious.
secretly hoping that he's in like the smallest of like 8 chests. And like when we go to open it, just like keeps spewing loot out until Osiris pops out as an Engram.
Yeah, the last week of the last season, like when you go to do whatever the event is, and you need to charge your thing to open the chest at the end, right? Osiris just pops out.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, it's a fairly straightforward lore corner. I mean, and I enjoy that we're getting stories with Lakshmi and Hideo because we've never gotten these before. But it's pretty clear that Quiria may not be our biggest foe this season. There's long been rumors about having to fight a Dark Guardian in this game at some point. What if we have to do a boss fight against Lakshmi? I'm not saying like Crucible style or anything, but what if you have to 1v1 her somewhere?
Yeah, or like
There's a lot of different avenues I think you can go here because surely the Vanguard is going to dispatch you to deal with it.
right.
You're basically their sword.
Yeah,
And then you have to wonder like how the people of the city feel because I mean everyone is singing Savathun's song right now. They're all coming under the influence because it said once you hear the tune, you don't unlearn it.
right.
In the lore, so you have to wonder, even if the Endless Night is beaten, Zavala doesn't quite know what's coming. And to that extent, our Guardian does not know what's coming either.
Yeah,
We have no idea. We only know this ourselves because we're reading the lore. Our Guardian does not know canonically.
right.
They weren't kidding when they said that Ikora was coming back this season and is going to play a pretty big role going forward. Like that's my biggest hint that I don't think the Vanguard falls apart.
Yeah,
That I don't think a new Vanguard is formed is because why else would you say that? And like, Lance Reddick is of course at the forefront of the voices that we hear in this game.
right.
Um,
I wonder if they'll. Man, I don't know. I still think there's going to be some sort of like Tower Civil War thing, and maybe it's not.
Oh, there's absolutely a civil war. And
It's not. I mean, it's not going to be like. Remember what at the beginning of the
fucking
expansion?
faction wars.
Yeah, that's what I think it's going to be. I feel like there's going to be some sort of faction war, and maybe that's like the bonus seasons, like that rumored bonus season.
Yeah,
that we're getting. Maybe that like it's like some sort of faction war and like I don't know, maybe they do some sort of thing kind of like Guardian games, right? Where like everybody picks a faction or whatever and then whatever and I know that they probably won't do this because just the way they develop the game and how long it takes and whatever, but like I think it would be cool to be like, well, whichever faction wins, let's steer the story in that direction, right? Canonically. But
yeah, I have to think that may be part of the plot line for next season.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the tower is in a full-on civil war, and that Savathun takes advantage of that because it's pretty clear she's sowing the dissension here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm very curious to see where this goes next week because, by all accounts, next week is like when we fight Quiria.
Right.
So, but there's still that epilogue at the end of the season, which makes me wonder: they really going to hold it till then? Because next week, by the challenges list that we have, again, example of a good data mine, appears that next week is our last story quest. There's 8 of those required for the Triumph.
Right.
For the seal, and we're at 7 out of 8 right now. If you've been keeping up,
right. And how long is this season? How many weeks is this season?
Oh God, I have no idea, but it ends on like August 23rd or something.
Yeah. So,
we've still got 2 months to go.
Yeah. So I what like 15 weeks I guess that would make it because
about 15. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we're roughly at about the halfway point right now.
Yeah.
Which feels really weird to say with 2 months to go, but we're at roughly a halfway point. We just had Iron Banner. We're getting another one next week.
I wonder if this like They're doing it early though because Solstice is starting, right? That's the
Right.
reason they're doing it early.
They've pretty much confirmed that that's why it is, and they said also with Grandmasters coming this week, they just started this week. I know I did not attempt Grandmaster on Glassway.
Why not, Josh?
Because I'm a pussy and I'm waiting for it to be on Inverted Spire.
Just like everybody else.
I'm not doing it next week on Fallen Saber either. Hate to break it to you.
God, that's even worse.
Dude, it's gonna be Inverted Spire and what's the other one? Warden of Nothing and Insight Terminus. Those are the three I'm doing.
God.
I'm waiting until they're all up so I can just play Inverted Spire like 15 times over the end of the season.
Dude, Fallen Saber sucks as a regular strike, let alone a fucking Grandmaster Nightfall.
It's rough. I did it as a master and it was just unrelentingly bad. But all things aside, like it seems like they want to get the seasonal narrative mostly out of the way, and then it's almost like an E3 conference. Like it hits you with so much, and then you get that event that's like kind of that lull in the middle, almost like it's all your third party stuff.
Right.
And then at the end they go, but here's one more thing.
Right.
For the final couple weeks of the season, or a live event or something like that. And I feel like at some point, so I like that this lore this week specifically calls out the parade grounds, which is where we went to watch the Traveler heal itself last fall.
Right.
I gotta wonder what they're planning for this year.
Yeah.
Could we get the city sunset? I mean, I'd kind of like it because I'm really tired of that tower right now.
Yeah, let's get a third tower. Let's do it.
Dude, just give me the helm. Just make the helm a little bit bigger. Let me walk down the stairs to see all of my ships in the hangar.
Yeah.
Not the purple ones. Exotics only. Like, let me see Guardian ships flying out of the helm.
Dude, I know we talk about this about this every week, but something's got to happen in the helm, right? Like, there's got to be like some sort of mission because our super's charging and everything. Like,
right?
I feel like this feels like another homecoming mission is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at some point, like we escape the new tower or escape the helm and try to, like, I don't know, maybe we're on a mission to save someone, or like, I don't know, but then you have to get back to the helm. Maybe you're being chased or something.
We've had the theory that it'll be protecting Crow.
Yeah.
Once certain people in the city find out who he is, because let's be honest, if Lakshmi finds out, she's gonna go ape shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's gonna be all the pretext she needs.
So who all knows? Just Ikora, Osiris, and Zavala right now?
Yeah, Ikora, Zavala, and not Osiris.
Yeah, not Osiris. Does Saint know?
Nope. Mm-mm. Saint does not know. Amanda doesn't know. Drifter probably knows.
Drifter probably just doesn't care.
Drifter doesn't give a shit. He didn't come to the tower until after Cade was dead. Even though Cade ran with him for a while before he became Hunter Vanguard.
Yeah.
You figure that something is being set up.
Shax and Saladin don't know.
No. Oh, Saladin definitely
Saladin
doesn't.
Freak the fuck out.
Well, he's also trying to be a team player now, so who knows?
Yeah, he's trying, and then when he finds out that nobody told him about this, he's gonna abandon the tower.
He's listen, he's just really upset because nobody confided in him. Osiris told him he couldn't go talk to Zavala to resolve like a 50-year-old grudge.
Right.
And on top of that, hey, Fellwinter may be coming back to life.
Yeah.
Anna Bray's off doing something with him right now, and that's not good for anybody.
Right. Man.
Fun times are ahead, my friend. Fun times. I hope we come back next week and just have had our slacks blown off.
Yeah.
But as I do with everything in Destiny, I'm going to do my best to keep my expectations in check.
Mm-hmm.
It's that end of the season when I think you're really going to be just like walloped with something.
It's that epilogue that has that big question mark right now.
Right. That's like, God, like I know why they put it on there, and it's like, yeah, it is a miracle that I haven't had whatever it is spoiled for me. That maybe it is not even in the game. Maybe they yanked it before dataminers found it or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I am so excited to see what happens in that epilogue thing.
It's that because that's going to set up that's
the one more thing.
Yeah.
And it gives the indication it's going live like 10 to 14 days before the end of the season.
Yeah.
The day the season ends and then it goes down for maintenance, you have to figure that's the Witch Queen reveal and the next season reveal all at once.
Right.
They're gonna do what they did with Beyond Light. And honestly, if that's the tradition they get into, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I mean, like, 6 months is a long time to wait when there's only one season. Like, I'd love it if they were able to just hold it until like 90 days before the next release and be like, here you go. You've got the 3 months of this season, and then here's our next major expansion.
Right.
Like, awesome. Just ride that hype train. Everybody's coming back to finish up stuff they haven't done throughout the year.
Right.
It's going to be real interesting to see how this shift affects them. I think getting out of fall is a very smart idea.
Oh, yeah. Especially this year.
Delays this year, it would have been absolutely massacred if they put it out in November.
Right. Because
they could have survived a September launch, but there was no way it was going to be ready.
Yeah. I mean, you got Battlefield, Call of Duty, Halo's free to play now, right?
Back for Blood.
Yeah, Back for Blood. There's something else coming out this fall too. I mean, like, I guess Forza.
I mean, on top of that, there's continuous updates to things like Apex and Warzone and Fortnite. Like, those all siphon players off of this. There's a major Final Fantasy 14 expansion coming out.
Whoa, you forgot the biggest one, Josh. Avengers Wakanda expansion.
Jesus Christ. Somebody get Luke Lore on the line. Luke, I love you.
I mean, no, Luke's too busy playing the Pirates DLC for Sea of Thieves. We'll never get him. He will never get him back anywhere.
It's pretty fucking great. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Part of me wants to reinstall it and at least check it out.
I did reinstall it.
I might.
I watched my girlfriend play it for an entire afternoon and was like, yeah, I need to re-download this.
God, no. Hold on. Now I gotta do it on the app.
I love that we can just say, oh, okay, I'll download this.
Fine. Sea of Thieves, Game Pass. God, thank God for Game Pass.
Thank God for Game Pass.
Well, there we go. Sea of Thieves, A Pirate's Life, downloading to my Xbox Series X right now. Thanks, Game Pass. Thanks, Phil. And team. Anyways. Well, Josh.
You want to get us out of here, Corey. You want to take us to the stars.
I do. It felt good to be awake for an episode for once. You know?
For once.
Yeah. Dude, last week I was so dead. I was like really close to saying, hey, Josh, can you tag Nerd in for this or something? But I was like, no, I got to do it. So, but yeah, man, I feel really good today. So
I'm glad one of us does. I've been riding the struggle bus this week. It's been a really rough week.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to Tower Casuals. Remember to leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. Leave us some 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. You can follow us on Twitter at Tower Casuals. You can email the show at towercasuals@gmail.com. Send us your questions. We know enough of you listen. Please send us your questions. We haven't had one in a while, and we'd really, really, really appreciate it. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher now, and other podcast apps. Josh, where can we find you?
Find me, as always, Twitter, at Josh_Finn, 2 N's. Will follow me as I chronicle my tears over the impending collapse of the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, God, dude. Sorry, Jason Kidd is...
I'm so fucking mad, dude. I saw that added to my aggression as we were getting on.
Dude, when I saw that, I felt so bad for you. I'm like, okay, oh my God.
Fucking Logan is over here texting me going, ha 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 ha, because I've been like groaning about it all day in our messages. Yeah. And he's just like, can't help but laugh because I'm like, in like a week and a half, like my optimism has gone to like 0 for this team.
But why? Why is that? Why?
Jason Kidd's a disaster on so many levels.
I know.
I'm not a big. Well, Cuban's considering him because he knows Kidd will be a yes man. He'll be a yes man. He's a legend. He helped us win the title. Like, but he's also a wife beater, a domestic abuser, a DUIer. Like, he's a horrible person. Like, just no. And on top of that, he's a bad coach. He couldn't make it work with Giannis. If you can't make it work with Giannis, how are you gonna make it work with Luka, who is like the exact opposite in terms of ego to Giannis? Luka has a MVP and a championship from when he was a teenager. When I was 17, I wasn't playing EuroLeague basketball and winning MVPs. I was playing mediocre high school tennis and soccer for cute girls in short skirts. Okay? And my coach knew it. He absolutely knew it because I didn't even know the rules of tennis.
I took tennis lessons one summer. It was a bad time.
I played doubles with my best friend in high school. Both of us yelled, "I got it," when a ball was coming straight down. He swung the racket and smacked me in the face. And let me tell you something. That he had a metal racket. That hurt. I'm pretty sure I got a concussion from that.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
God, Corey, where can we find you at?
Oh, you can find...
This becomes my therapy now.
You can find me at I am Corey in HD on Twitter. You can find me hosting multiple shows, other podcasts here on Boss Rush Games. I want to... What else? There was something else I was going to say, but I forget. So we'll save it for next week. I want to thank everybody so much for watching and or listening. Like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you listen to us. And we will see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.